Hello, and welcome to Houston County Electric Cooperative's annual meeting. We were hoping to see everyone in person this year, gathering, visiting, shaking hands, and laughing, but once again, we meet virtually. We know this pandemic has affected the lives of everyone, but we continue to persevere and collectively look forward to brighter days ahead. So for now, we offer you this message, a plate of catfish, and a gift as a token of our appreciation for you, the members of Houston County Electric Cooperative. You make our co-op great, and it is an honor to serve you.
While we know you've faced many challenges with the pandemic, I would be remiss if I did not mention February Winter Storm Uri and the impact it had on our members and our cooperative. We began sharing social media messages to prepare for the coming cold, freezing weather as early as February 5th. At that time, though, little did we know what was about to unfold across our state. It turns out that our January snowstorm event was a blessing in disguise. We received feedback that you needed more information and better communication. So in 3 short weeks between the January record snow and the February Winter Storm Uri, we completely revamped our processes. We changed our phone system to be able to scale up the number of calls that we handled. We trained other office personnel so that all available office personnel could handle calls. We set up schedules to send out social media messaging, and we made sure all our internal people received the same message, so that when Uri hit, we were able to better respond to our members and keep all our members informed of the situation so that you would know where we were, what we were doing, and what to anticipate so you could make adequate preparations.
Early on, we fared well through the first part of the storm. The temperatures held at or just below freezing, but with a little snow on Valentine's Day, the rain started falling, temperature started dropping. It was downhill from there. We started getting calls, or was hearing talk of rolling blackouts, and we'd been threatened of them in the past, but had never had to experience them. Well, that changed. The generation became short supply. Rolling blackouts were called for, and for 3 days, we remotely rolled blackouts from one circuit to another, from one substation to another. Thank goodness it worked perfectly.
So a couple of us, myself included, got a crash course in system operation and began to take over the load shed process through the night. That first night was very long, and when I left the next morning to get a couple hours of sleep, the temperature on my car dash was -1, and it was at that moment that I realized how dangerous of a situation this was going to be for our members.
This event was one of the more frustrating that I've experienced. The helpless feeling of our members suffering and us doing our best to help our members, but Mother Nature just wouldn't let us.
We could not see the light at the end of the tunnel. I knew our Groveton members had been out a long time, and I was worried about their health and their safety. So I picked up the phone and I called Judge Page down in Trinity County. It was a reassuring call because at least he informed me that they did have warming stations open and they were doing welfare checks. So my hope and prayer was that our greater community was taking care of each other and protecting our members through this event.
We became prepared and we got a plan that we would come to work before the storm even hit. And we went to Walmart and bought a blow-up mattress and decided to camp out one of the empty offices. And we were prepared to stay here as long as we needed to, and to rough it out in the HCEC Lodge, which is what I called my room that I was staying in. We were fully staffed here in dispatch, and we had 2 dispatchers working the computers, and then 1 dispatch was answering phone calls. And pretty soon it was all hands on deck, where everybody in the office was answering phone calls and taking care of the needs of all of our members.
When the calls started coming in, members, of course, some were very upset, some were very understanding. Some members just needed reassuring that our crews were out doing everything they could to get the power restored. Many of our employees were working 12, 16-hour days, very little rest. The bottom line was we wanted to be here for our members and do whatever it took to make sure they were informed and safe.
The next 24 hours, we continued working. We continued contacting our power suppliers, desperate to try to get power restored to those that had not been rotated, while those that we were rotating continued 45 minutes off and then at least an hour and a half on. And we kept working through this process as we watched Wednesday forecast heading our way. That was the day that we were going to receive the ice damage. And when Wednesday arrived, just as the rest of the state was coming out of load shed, our system was going to the ground.
By Wednesday morning, the ice really started accumulating on the lines, and we were getting out of the rolling blackouts that we were having to do for the transmission company, but Mother Nature was starting to do the blackouts for us. We had about 15,000 members out. Our crews that were out doing the work, they're not used to this kind of event. None of us were, and but they really stepped up. They worked many hours and only go home just long enough to try to wash off with cold water because they had no heat and power, change clothes at least, and then they were right back to help our members.
Well, you're out there 16, 18 hours a day. You're freezing to death. Your feet go numb, your hands go numb, and then the obstacles of the snow, trying to drive through the snow, get to places. Then we have so many pine trees, and they just like a canopy, just go over the line like this.
The snow and pine trees don't go well together. A little bit of snow on them limbs, and
I mean, like I said, you can pick up a break or get something off the line, and before you get back to the truck, there's another tree fell in the same spot or near the same spot or a limb, and then you got to get back out and do it all over again.
One of the 7 co-op principles is that co-ops help other co-ops. And this was especially true in this event. Our sister co-ops came to our aid. They drove in icy conditions, facing fuel shortages, just to get here to help us pick up the damage from the ice storm.
You'll have members that, when they first go out, they ask you how long is it going to take to get back on, and then you have members that get aggravated because they're out for several days, but they actually know that we're out working because they're seeing us out working, and a lot of the members try to be helpful.
They would show us where the problem was. They would pull us out. They some feed us, give us coffee, try to keep us warm, and it takes a family to do it.
We had many people bring food to the co-op here. Many local businesses offered to feed the guys, and a lot of them went by and took advantage of that. Kind of grab and go.
And we're sitting there one day, and a member pulls up, and I'm thinking, oh, here we go. But she pulls up to the truck. I guess they went somewhere and got chicken, about 4 or 5 boxes of chicken, and she just gave it to us. She said, I know y'all are doing everything you can. I know y'all are hungry here. They think about us too.
The roads were very treacherous, and the fuel, none of the trucks could deliver here in Crockett. And we had a local businessman, Mr. Lee Holsey. He offered to let us use his fuel tanks right here in town, Holsey Mining, no charge. And then Mr. Joe Robinson at Crockett Farm and Fuel put in some overhead tanks, and I don't know how he did it, but he got some trucks in. So we were good as far as having enough fuel to get to our members. By Sunday morning, we were able to get everything back on a little before lunch, I believe. And they were so exhausted, so tired, and they all come in here, and we had some sandwiches and stuff for them, and they were so glad. And then they were all talking about could they go home and fix their own stuff now.
One thing we did learn on the backside of this terrible storm It was a huge obstacle that we did overcome. Our members suffered, our employees suffered, but we all struggled and made it through it, and we prevailed.
But the scars of this event would linger on. Unlike our other storms, where the cost of the storm is typically limited to the cost of material, the cost of poles and conductor, and the labor to rebuild your system, this storm had deep financial consequences. It was a complete market failure, and our power prices during this event were astronomical.
I never anticipated our industry could face such a financial crisis in this scarcity situation. Honestly, I think this is the only situation I've ever seen where in a time of disaster, legislators and regulators responded by saying the market operated as designed. Basically, our Texas leaders washed their hands of this situation and left us to bear the cost.
We knew our membership could not bear the full cost of this event. Our February power bill was equivalent to our annual power cost for the entire year. That is where the cooperative difference shines. We are not like other businesses. We all heard the news stories where consumers were receiving $5,000 electric bills. That is not who we are. We are here to protect you and your interests. We are a not-for-profit business. We are here to serve you. You have developed and built a strong, financially stable organization under the leadership and guidance of the directors you have elected. And it is our obligation to protect your interests and keep rates affordable.
We developed a financial plan to pay all our obligations and spread those costs to our members over the next 6 to 8 years. We are committed to doing what is right and protecting your interest. Going forward, we will continue striving to improve your service by expanding our communication capabilities, maintaining and hardening our system to prevent outages, providing affordable rates, and investing in future technologies and generation resources. On behalf of your directors, thank you. It's an honor to serve you. Together, we work hard to represent the collective interest of you, our members. And to the employees of our great co-op, we also say thank you. You are the heart and soul of our organization. We are grateful for everything you do to serve our members.